لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله
وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله
نويت سنة الاعتكاف.
نويت سنة الاعتكاف.
Alhamdulillah, we're gathered here today in the weekly gathering, the weekly ijtima of Dawat-E-Islami. And we always start our gatherings by mentioning a blessing, a virtue or a reward of reciting durood and salam upon the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, recitation of salawat upon me is nur on the bridge of salam. Whoever recites 80 times salawat upon me on Friday, 80 years of his sins will be forgiven. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ala Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. My dear and brothers, today's bayan is on the topic of halal and haram and the distinction between halal and haram and how important it is for us as Muslims to keep this distinction in our minds, practically in our lives as well. To distinguish between halal and haram and then to make sure that we apply that in our lives. Why is this so important? Inshallah, we're going to learn a few things about that today. To begin with, I want to share with you an incident that took place with Sayyidina Imam Azam, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. Imam Azam, he was a businessman. Imam Abu Hanifa, very famous Imam of millions and millions of Muslims around the world. Even we, alhamdulillah, we call ourselves Hanafi because we are followers of Imam Azam Abu Hanifa. And it says that Imam Azam, he used to trade in goods. And he had somebody working with him who goes by the name of Hafs bin Abdul Rahman rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. And he says that Imam Azam would trade with me, and whenever he would send goods to me, he would tell me in advance that I'm sending you this container, I'm sending you this batch of goods. Within this container, within this batch of goods, there is so and so product which is slightly faulty. There is such and such a product which has a defect in it. He says that Imam Abu Hanifa would always tell me that whenever you sell this on to somebody else, this is like business, yeah, you buy something, you put a premium on it, you sell it to somebody else, that person puts a premium and he sells it to a third person. Imam Azam was the supplier. And he says to this middleman, whose name is Sayyidina Hafs bin Abdul Rahman, he says to him that whenever I send you something, I will tell you if there's a defect in it. But what I want you to do is when you sell that on to the third person, you must make that third person aware as well. Tell him of the defect before you sell it to him. Sayyidina Hafs rahmatullahi ta'ala, he says on one occasion, he says, I received some goods from Imam Azam Abu Hanifa and I sold them on. However, I forgot to tell the customer about the defect inside them. He says, when I went back, I told Imam Azam, Imam Abu Hanifa about this. He says that Imam Azam, the entire cost and profit of that contingent, that cloth or that material, when Imam Azam learned of this incident, he gave all of that in sadaqah and charity. Just in order to, you could say, recompense for the fact that this defect, this fault had not been passed on to the customer who was purchasing it. And we learn many things from this. One of them we learn, my dear Islamic brothers, is that a Muslim, whether that Muslim is working for somebody, is an employee, whether he's a business person, whether he's a trader, the identity of a Muslim should be his honesty. That he trades and he does business in an honest way and in an honest manner. And people want to do business with that person. Why? Because he's honest in his business. And Imam Azam was such an individual. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Holy Quran. And from this we derive many of the things that we're going to talk about today. Earning halal, eating halal, and feeding our family halal. Now today I'm going to talk about halal and haram. I'm not going to talk about pork or e-numbers or gelatin or whether certain brands of eggs, chocolate eggs you can eat or you can't, or whether certain brands of ice cream from certain retail outlets is halal or haram, or whether certain famous milkshake from a famous brand is jaiz or not jaiz. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something more fundamental here, which is feeding our families halal from halal sustenance and earning an honest income, and from an honest income feeding our family. Why is this so important? The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is mentioned Hujjatul Islam. Imam Muhammad Ghazali, he said, many pious predecessors, this is a famous saying, that when a Muslim eats the first morsel of halal food, his previous sins are forgiven. And when a person faces difficulty, he stands in a place of difficulty to earn halal, then Allah Ta'ala makes sins fall away from him like the leaves fall from a tree. Halal rozi kamane ke liye jo shakhs mehnat kare, koshish kare, puts himself in difficulty to earn halal, Allah Ta'ala removes his sins. And if you look for guidance from the Holy Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned and the translation taken from Kanzul Iman, Surah Al-Ma'idah, para number 7, ayat 88. وَكُلُوا مِمَّا رَزَقَكُمُ اللَّهُ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي أَنْتُمْ بِهِ مُؤْمِنُونَ. Translation: eat from the sustenance which Allah has given to you, the lawful and the pure, and fear Allah in whom you believe. So far. Now here the question is, what does in the Quran it refers to pure, it refers to halal, what does it mean? In the tafsir, the mufassirin have said halal means, and pure means that thing which is halal in itself and which is obtained through permissible means, i.e. it should not be obtained through means of theft, bribery, robbery, cheating, lying, those kind of things. This is the meaning of true and halal. Hazrat Yahya bin Mu'az has said, and this is a beautiful saying, and this is, you could say, the essence of today's bayan. अगर हम इस जो अभी मैं अर्ज करने जा रहा हूँ, अगर इसको हम समझ लें और इस पर हम अमल पैरा हो जाए. He mentions that obedience of Allah Ta'ala is hidden in the treasure. Meaning Allah Ta'ala, His treasure. When a person is seeking some treasure from Allah, what treasure is he seeking? Is Allah Ta'ala's obedience. What are we all seeking? We want to be better people, we want to be good people, good Muslims. What does it mean to be a good Muslim? It means to be obedient to Allah, to follow His commandments. How does a person become obedient? They go on, they say to become obedient, the key to obedience is dua. To be obedient, what is the key? The key is dua. And they further say that the key for the dua, the teeth on the key of dua is to have halal food. And this, you try to understand the sequence here. If a key has no teeth, the door of the treasure will not be open. And if you have a key, this is a key. I'll just show you an example, right? Now this, if you were to take away these bottom shapes, which you call the teeth, if you were to take them away, this key won't open any door. It's like any key. But when a key is shaped and is given these things on the side of a key, called the teeth of a key, that key will then open the door that it's meant to open. And the scholars, they say here that the teeth on your key, the key is dua. What gives your dua the power to open the door that you're looking to open is to make sure that everything you're eating is halal. To make sure our sustenance is halal, That will be the key to our dua. And when our dua is strong and powerful, then that dua will be the key that opens the treasure, and that treasure is the obedience of Allah. Sometimes we might take these things as very, very small, earning halal and eating halal, but these have a big impact on a person's spirituality. हम कहते हैं कि घर में मसाइल हैं, घर में problem है. One of the reasons हमको, we should check that the money coming inside the house, is that all pure? Or is it as pure as it could be? Are we not, you make sure that we're not cheating anybody, we're not lying to anybody, we're not evading tax, we're not claiming benefits when we shouldn't be. All of these things come in making sure that anything that we bring in the home is honest and pure. Some further narrations about halal. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, is mentioned, whoever eats halal for 40 days, Allah Ta'ala will illuminate his heart and will make springs of wisdom flow from his tongue. In another place, whoever earns halal wealth and consumes it himself, or wears clothes obtained from these earnings and feeds other people, then this deed of his is a blessing and purity for him. Hazrat Sa'd once asked the Prophet ﷺ, "O beloved Rasul ﷺ, make dua that Allah Ta'ala answers my dua." एक सहाबी प्यारे आका सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की बारगाह में हाजिर हुए और अर्ज किया, या रसूल अल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, मेरे लिए दुआ फरमाएं कि मेरी दुआ कबूल हो जाए, that my dua is answered. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, purify your food, your du'as will be answered. Purify your food and your du'as will be answered. So much depth in this for us, my dear brothers. So much depth. Purify our food, purify our earnings. And halal sustenance, going for halal sustenance. And going to effort, going to lengths to make sure that there's nothing, let's use the word on the sea, nothing dodgy in what we're earning. Let me give you an example. And these examples of people that came before us. People who lived an honest life. People who had a character which made them honest. Their outlook on life was not, how can I cheat or how can I withhold information. Their character was, I want to be honest in everything I do. Beautiful narration. It's mentioned in a book called Uyun al-Hikayat. A man, his name was Hazrat Ibrahim bin Adham rahmatullahi ta'ala.